There's a chill on the corner of Mercy and May, where the rain writes stories on the window pane. Men in coats trade whispers and names, and no one ever leaves here quite the same. The street lamps hum a lullaby low to dreams that died a long time ago. A kiss means trouble, a glance is a game, and every pretty face has a different name. In the alleys, time stands still, and every shadow waits to kill. If you're just passing, say a prayer, but if you stay, don't expect to be spared. There's no light left to borrow, and no heroes here tomorrow. Just a girl with a voice and a song full of sorrow in the dark alleys of Noir.
All right, well, welcome back to our Marvel Superheroes crossover campaign with Marvel Galaxies, featuring the Reclaimers from In the Shadow of Evil and In the Mouth of Madness. Welcome to Dark Alleys. You can catch all of the Dreamslayer Studios action for our Marvel Superheroes games on Twitch on Tuesday nights, as well as on our YouTube channel, and just about every podcast platform that's out there. Just search for Dreamslayer Studios on any of those platforms and we should pop up. And if you like what you see here tonight, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Every little bit helps bring you more exciting adventures. And now, without further ado, let's recap what happened in our first episode of Dark Alleys. The city never sleeps. Not because it's restless, but because it's afraid to close its eyes. Last night, the shadows stirred louder than usual. A singer vanished from a club with bad lighting and worse clientele. Her name was Tamara Blake, and the only thing she left behind was a pile of black feathers and perfumed ghosts on the dressing room floor. That's when Felicia Hardy, the Black Cat herself, came sauntering into the sanctum like a bad memory in silk. Said Tamara was more than a friend, she was family. Said the docks were swallowing people whole and spitting out nothing but whispers. So the Reclaimers went digging. And in this city, when you dig deep enough, you find graves. Down by the lower east docks, they found a couple of detectives knee-deep in the dead. Detective Stacy and Watanabe. Tough, stubborn, and outgunned. Good thing the Reclaimers were the backup. The smell of rot was thick, but the real stink, that was voodoo. Old magic. Dirty magic. Carved into the crates and dock posts like forgotten warnings. They found a series of symbols scattered about the area and on the Walking Dead. Something called the Ferryman's Mark. And among the corpses, a crumpled flyer. A funeral notice, still legible on the soggy parchment. A name. Blackwell and Sons Funeral Emporium. With a little nod from a fella named the Phantom Reporter, the trail now winds uptown to Harlem, where apparently the dead don't sleep. Alright, so we have left the last episode as you guys are exiting the alley and heading back out onto the streets, I think with the intent of heading up towards Harlem, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
As you guys are coming out of the alley, you see a figure that's kind of hanging out under one of the street lamps there, kind of silhouetted by the light. And Priest, you recognize this woman just from the silhouette. I'm going to bring up a little token here on your map. In front of you, leaning up against that lamppost, you see her, Claire Temple. They call her the Night Nurse, but that nickname doesn't do her justice. She ain't some Florence Nightingale with a clean apron and a gentle hand. Claire's the kind of woman who stitches wounds while the city burns, who's got one hand in your chest and the other on a rosary, daring the devil to interrupt. She's got a face carved from city stone, hard angles and tired eyes. But there's a warmth buried deep if you know where to look. Hair swept back in soft waves, cheekbones like jazz notes, and a voice husky from too many late nights and too many cigarettes she swore she gave up. The world's broken in 100 different ways, and Claire has seen every one of them. But she still shows up, still fights to save what's left. She's 40-something, but her eyes are haunted. She takes a look as you guys walk down the alley, and she says, "Well, well, well. Fancy meeting you here. Heard a bunch of ruckus coming from down the alley there, Father Thomas. You want to tell me what that was all about?"
I don't know. Do you really want to know?
I don't know if I do, but I got a feeling. And that feeling is telling me that you, before you gallivant off somewhere else, might want to come with me back to the Holy Ghost.
I look back at the others and say, when she calls, you come. If you don't, it's trouble. So,
If you weren't a priest, I would have so much to say about that.
Do we know what the Holy Ghost is?
Probably so, yes. The Holy Ghost is a sanctuary that actually Father Thomas, priest, and Claire have set up. It's kind of a place that falls a little bit under the radar, but it's there for people that are in desperate need, and usually in need of stitches.
Yeah.
So you want to bring the whole crew, or just you and me?
I don't want to speak for them. So you guys, if y'all want
Given
to go
everything
ahead,
going on, I think it's best we stick together.
That, and I like the concept of him gallivanting, and I need to be around to see this.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely would be something to see.
Oh, yeah.
well, when they say they're going to come, you let them come. Otherwise, trouble happens. So I guess we're kind of in a rock and a hard place. Yeah, they're coming.
All right, well, we're just a hop, skip, and a jump from the sanctuary, so maybe we can chat on the way there.
Now, if it's a sanctuary, at least we're probably not going to get jumped by anything, right?
Why did you say that out loud? It's like you're taunting someone.
You jinxed us.
There's no guarantees in that neighborhood, big fella.
She's right there.
So, I kind of had a little bit of a buzz. You know how I get sometimes.
Mhm.
I heard about the dock worker that was found down that alley that you just came out of. So I'm assuming that you're probably there investigating the same thing that I came down here looking for.
Yep, good assumption.
So, you know, questions between you and me are never really that odd. So I guess I probably ought to just come right on out and ask it. That dock worker that was laying out on the docks down there, he happened to get up.
Yeah, he did.
As it turns out, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
You've been seeing a lot of that?
No, not a lot of it, just one recently.
Hmm.
Come on in. I know it's been a while for some of you, but make yourselves at home. The sanctuary is a rundown, former small cathedral tucked behind crumbling brownstones. Steeple is broken. The stained glass windows are mostly boarded over, but a flickering red cross light still glows above the door like a dying ember. Inside, candles fight the dark. It smells of rubbing alcohol, old incense, and something faintly metallic. Blood, mostly cleaned, but always lingering. The front door moans open like a tired old man. Inside, the air hangs heavy, thick with the ghost of incense and antiseptic. The pews are long gone, sold off or rotted away. What's left looks like a war zone hospice. Rusted cots where prayers used to be whispered, IV stands instead of stained glass, and an altar turned operating table. Linen faded, corners frayed like a forgotten sermon. On the shelf, morphine vials glint beside rosary beads. Salvation for the body and a Hail Mary for the soul. That about sums up the place. Claire walks up to the altar where there is a body laid out. There's no panic in her, just a quiet, coiled focus that you only find in people who've stared death straight in the eye and told it to sit down and wait its turn. She doesn't flinch when she sees the corpse. She just sighs like this city never runs out of the wrong kind of surprises. So, I got a buddy of mine, Steve, works out of the ER just down the block. This fella, right here, laid out on the slab, was brought in by an ambulance, DOA. My buddy Steve was the guy that was in charge of taking him down to the morgue to put him to rest, at least for the night, until somebody could come and pick him up in the morning. Just as he was opening the door to the morgue, this thing sits up, starts reaching for him, grabbing at him, clawing at him. Now, Steve was an old boxer, so he hit that fellow right in the kisser, broke his nose, as you can see. He went down, but not for long. He got right back up and went for Steve's throat. Steve reached out, grabbed the IV pole that was on the gurney, pulled it out, drove it through his head, and he went down for the count. But Steve knows a dead body when he sees it, and that fella sure was dead. So, did the only thing that he could think of, and he got in touch with old Claire. Because apparently I handle shit like this now.
That's what word on the street is.
I opened this thing up already. I sewed it shut just so nobody walked in on it. So this might get a little bit gruesome. So if you got a weak stomach, you might want to look away. And she goes over to the corpse and she starts to take a scalpel and some tweezers and begins to open up the stitches on the chest of this thing. And as she does so, the air thickens with as this kind of sluggish black ooze starts to flow out of the chest cavity of this thing like molasses.
Well, that's not normal.
It smells bitter, fungal, and coppery.
Will's going to step closer.
She reaches
Yeah, first,
over. Oh,
Tank's
go ahead.
gonna Tank's gonna step away.
Barton, stand still.
As soon as the black inky stuff starts coming out of the chest, she just kind of shoots a sidelong glance at Will. But when the
No.
smell accompanies it, she's like, all right, that's not his branded.
Yeah, I was about to say, he
Yick.
shakes his head. It's like, no, that's not mine. Based on his archaeological and sociological studies of ancient cultures and all that stuff, would this fit in with burial rites for any particular group that he could think of?
If you voice any of that out loud,
Yes.
Claire says, well, I don't know about any particular group of individuals that would use something like this, but I've never seen it this color before, but this is essentially embalming fluid.
Black?
Yeah, but there's something more to it, and it's something that I can't put my finger on.
Does it smell like embalming fluid or something else? You said
That
like
kind
roots?
of, that bitter and coppery kind of smell is kind of similar to embalming fluid, that kind of formaldehyde kind of smell. But that more fungal quality is what's kind of throwing it off.
I know formaldehyde from dissecting. Great ring cleaner.
Before she opened up the chest, did we notice that same brand on the chest that was on the other zombies that we've seen?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And she spots you looking at that, and she's like, so, I see you looking at the brand. Does that mean anything?
Yeah. Is it sorceries involved with this?
So, I mean, this is a zombie, right? I mean, it gotta be voodoo.
That's what we've been thinking. Yeah. The kind of fungus smell is something that's new, though, I think. I
Do you
don't think
have-
any of us noticed that before.
Yeah. Do you have a sample of this stuff that we can take with us and maybe have somebody take a look at?
Yeah, she reaches over, grabs a vial, and scoops some of it up in there, gets a dirty rag and kind of cleans it off, puts a cork in it, and hands it over to you.
I pocket it.
Look, whatever this is, you know, like you said, the fungal thing is out of the ordinary. That's what I can't put my finger on. But I mean, if we're talking a mixture of science and sorcery, voodoo here, somebody went to great lengths to keep these bodies ready. And
Well,
she reaches down and
Ready for what though? What's the end game here?
yeah, she reaches down and she picks up like the wrist of this thing and picks it up, and it's got full kind of range of motion. And
okay.
she says it's like it's got taut muscle, minimal decay, like the grave itself was holding on to this thing. So this was done with purpose. And how this thing ended up in an ambulance, I have no idea. The only thing I can figure is it was put there for a reason.
In academic circles, how well known is Dr. Kurt Connors and his attempts to deal with regeneration and bodily motility after limb loss and whatnot?
I would say in this reality was probably fairly well known. Yeah.
I mean, this seems almost like it would fit with Dr. Connors' research, doesn't it?
Kurt Connors, the guy that was trying to regrow his arm.
Yeah. I mean, he looked at pretty much anything that could potentially do it. I'm sure he looked at funguses. And if this fungus is reacting with the body so that it's holding off rigor mortis, then it's something he might have looked at.
I mean, that's an interesting theory. I mean, it's very possible.
I'm not as well versed in the finger wiggling side of things, but as far as the science part goes, I think he might be a reasonable place to continue.
Well, yeah, but he's dead.
Oh, when did that happen?
Like about 2 weeks ago.
What happened?
Do you think that maybe he was killed, had something to do with this?
Well, I don't think he was killed.
Hmm.
From what I understand, the report that I saw was he had basically reached the end of his trials and had injected himself with something.
Yeah, Dr.
And
Connors.
apparently
that
it didn't go
tracks.
very well.
Out of character, do we know that he became the lizard? Just
No.
checking.
I-
Okay.
I was assuming not.
Okay.
But here's the funny thing, though. I mean, we're dealing with zombies. We're dealing with, things that get up and walk. They never had a funeral for Dr. Connors because somebody lost the body.
Lost the body, or the body lost itself?
Where he would have been at Empire State, which means that they have a hospital and morgue on campus, don't they?
They do, but I can't tell you exactly whether or not he would have been there or if he was moved somewhere else.
Well, I can probably find that out at least.
Oh, fucking fiend. They just got lost.
Yeah, bodies don't just go missing. Unless they get up and
Yes.
walk out on their own, which apparently is a thing now.
And zombies just don't end up in ambulances.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can figure is whoever put him in there did so because, I mean, if these things can replicate themselves, maybe it was a way to infect others at the hospital.
Put them in the morgue with a bunch of dead bodies, and then maybe
Yeah.
you got a bunch of zombies.
If it's
That makes sense.
if it's if it's the fungus that does it, like if it's spores or something like that,
That's your replicant, right?
That could possibly do it.
Ugh. Maybe I should have some sort of breathing mask or something.
Doesn't
Quite
seem like the
right.
worst idea. I can tell you that there are funguses that do all sorts of weird things to the body and brain, so you definitely don't want to be breathing in something that you don't know what it is.
Yeah, maybe we better get this thing to the incinerator.
That's probably the best idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we didn't really get into it. So, I mean, you want to share? I mean, you want to tell me what happened down there?
Lots of those.
Lots of these?
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots.
Like
A
how
fair
many?
number.
10,
Ugh.
I think.
It
Close.
can't. It can't just be the. It can't just be the fungus and the spores, though, as far as replicating goes, because all of them had that same tattoo on them, or that brand, or whatever it is.
And the brand was all over the docks too.
Yeah,
Do you think that's something that they like were all members of a gang, or do you think that was done like to after they died to wake them up?
That's out of my purview.
well,
I
not necessarily. How fresh is that brand or tattoo on this guy's chest? Does it look like it was done post-mortem, or is it something that was on him before he died?
Now, this was definitely done post-mortem.
That's our answer.
And that one guy,
Yeah,
though,
okay.
the one guy had it done beforehand, though.
The dock worker?
Yeah. Right? That was what we found, and his diary went all
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Wait, a diary? What's in the diary?
Hank, you've got the diary.
No, the police had the diary.
Oh, that's right. He's got the notes from the diary. I think he copied pretty much the whole thing.
Yeah, he did get the notes from the diary.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that. I think I got it here.
Maybe we should find a helpful voodoo practitioner that could explain the process of this.
I'm afraid I left all of my helpful voodoo practitioners in my other pants.
Well, that ain't a bad idea. There's all sorts of people, in the right neighborhoods that tell fortunes, read those funny cards, all that sort of thing.
Wasn't Hank talking about some guy who just set up shop in Harlem?
I think he was, yeah.
Some, yeah, morgue or undertaker or something like that.
The Blackwell and Sons funeral
Yeah.
emporium. Mhm.
We should probably talk to that guy.
Well, their flyer was at the dog, so they're a suspect.
Yeah, there could be a suspect. They could also be someone who was, checking it out just like we were. I'd say we play it cool, don't go in there, looking to bust heads, but be ready to bust heads.
And Hank has pulled the notes that he scribbled from the journal. And it says, "She speaks in dreams, the queen of monsters, the mother of evil. She says her children are waking. The blood feeds them. The black wings gather. We will follow. We must." And then it trailed off after that.
Black wing sounds like it refers to the horde of black chicken feathers that we found.
They
Yeah.
and the Queen of Monsters. There's all sorts of stories about queens of monsters from antiquity, anything from Lilith to Grendel's mother.
But you said something about that this guy, this dock worker, I mean, he had the journal, so obviously he's ranting
According to
about...
my father, my mother-in-law, his mother-in-law was the queen of monsters, but I don't think she's the one we're looking for.
Keep her on the list just in case.
My
this-
mother-in-law could be there too.
Please continue, Claire.
This guy was ranting about this mother of all evil and queen of monsters. I mean, is it possible if he was branded before he became one of these things? I mean, is he like a follower? Is he? I mean, are we dealing with a cult here, like a voodoo cult?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, the branding and stuff sounds kind of culty.
What brought you guys down there in the first place?
We got a request by someone to check out a place where one of their friends disappeared. I'm not sure how many other details we really should be sharing, but we got asked a favor. And favors is better than money this time.
So you're looking for somebody that's missing.
And found some people that were missing and were now back momentarily.
Well, something stinks. That's for sure. And it's more than just this body.
Yeah. We appreciate you putting this on our doorstep, though, so that we know about it.
Well, my next stop was going to be the Sanctum anyway, so we pretty much just kind of cut to the chase. So, are you guys going to head up to this funeral parlor then and kind of sniff around there?
I
We'll
think
take
so.
this guy to the incinerator first.
Oh, yeah, I can take care of that. I mean, a little muscle might help because I don't know if I can lift him. But yeah, we can get him in there. We've got the incinerator out back. But look, if this is what we're thinking it is, a cult or voodoo or whatever it is, you're not just fighting spells. You're fighting pretty much the graves themselves. And if there are more of these things, and if that fungus is the catalyst for creating more of these things, somebody's planning for the long haul. This ain't no back alley necromancy. This is infrastructure. This right here is a test case, a warm-up.
Oh,
Hey, Spartan, I have a question. Like, I know that your ability, you're really good at kind of sniffing out things, no pun intended. You have
yeah.
your senses are a little bit better than the rest of ours. Would you be able to keep like kind of a mental file of what this smells like? And I don't know, you're not a bloodhound, but are you able to maybe track towards it or something?
I think so.
Okay. Or at least if we know like we're coming to an area and you start smelling it, then maybe that means we should be on our guard.
Yeah, so Spartan, if you want to make a roll on your enhanced senses under the remarkable column.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, I got a green. So you're able to kind of catalog that, and if that pops up again, you should be able to smell it and recognize it for sure. As far as tracking it right now, the only thing you'd be able to do at this point really would probably be able to track it back to the hospital where it came from, and that's probably not going to lead you anywhere more than likely.
Okay.
All right, well, you want to help me lug this thing over to the incinerator and then we can get this thing taken care of?
If you can seal that bag up real good, I can handle a lugging part.
I'll make it happen.
I think I'm still going to take a long, hot shower.
She
Yeah.
sews him up and then bags him up, and she says, "He's all yours."
With some, squeamishness, not necessarily, in character for a big tough guy that punches demons. He picks up the sack and says, "Okay, which way to the incinerator?"
All right, and she leads you out back to the back alley.
Is it, this is out of character. Is it normal for emergency hospitals to have crematoriums, in the back that are body sized?
In Planet Noir, it is.
Ah, okay.
You know how it is, Tank. It's Chinatown.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, go ahead.
Are we going to go to Harlem, or I know
I think
Hudson Cemetery was mentioned, but I don't know if we really need to stop at that.
I think Harlem with a stop off at the Columbia campus, so I can have somebody take a look at this vial while we're doing it.
With the hour that it is right now, as late as it is, there's probably not going to be anybody there at this hour. I mean, you could maybe try, but
Curse my lack of mad scientist friends.
Yeah, but I'm sure that Harlem is hopping at this hour.
Yeah, but not necessarily the
Funeral parlor.
Yeah, that's a good point. But on the other hand, a funeral parlor that's open this time of night could just be what we're looking for. But
You know what? We can probably save ourselves a little bit of time. Hank, can you see if the funeral parlor is open? Do a little astral trip.
it's not a bad idea. All right, so here's his astral projection. There it is.
I'm gonna feel real bad if I just got
Oh no, it's an 8. So you see Hank kind of take the lotus position and begin to float in midair like he do. And a minute or two kind of passes. It doesn't take him long to travel like that. And then you kind of see his face kind of twist a little bit. Not that he's in pain, just uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden, his eyes open up, and then he comes out of the position and stands a little wobbly. And he's like, well, I don't know if they're open or not. But what I can tell you is there are some pretty powerful magic wards around that place that's actually preventing me from getting a good view inside.
Interesting.
Mm.
I think that definitely means we need to pay a visit.
What time is it?
Probably about 11:30.
I suggest you go in the morning about 10.
Yeah,
Might be
might not be bad to get a good night's rest before we head off into the belly of the beast.
Well, and if he's not, an adversary yet, maybe we don't make one of him by popping into his place of business in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to head back to your individual abodes and catch some shut eye.
Sure.
All right.
I try to have a vision this evening.
Okay. If you took any damage, which I don't know if I think I might have actually already healed you guys, I think, in anticipation. So you certainly get a good night's rest and you're fully refreshed by the next day. And then priest, you said you were going to maybe try to have a vision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Relating to our current quandaries for the team.
All right, go ahead and make a roll on your precog.
Okay.
And actually, it's a +2 column shift on that for you.
Okay. So, and I cannot spend karma on this, can I?
Right. 25. You go back to your, what do you have, an apartment, small brownstone?
I probably technically have a cell.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah. The events of the night kind of weigh heavy on you as you lay your head down on your pillow, and sleep fights you. And your head is just kind of spinning. Eventually, after about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of just tossing and turning and going over the events of the evening, you finally do find sleep, or sleep finds you. And you then see yourself walking down a dark street. It's early morning. The street lamps are still kind of flickering right now, before the dawn really fully breaks. And you recognize this place. You've been there before, the Blackwell Funeral Emporium. It's kind of a place that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb in the middle of Harlem. It's kind of surrounded by kind of slums and almost like brutalist style buildings. But in the middle of this area is this lone, almost like Gothic building that has kind of a secondary building off to the side, which you would probably assume is the crematorium. You've been in there before. You've conducted a few funerals there over recent years. And inside, there is the stench of death. More overpowering than what you would anticipate just a regular funeral home would be. You see in your vision the silhouette of a woman with wild hair dancing among the dead, playing a drum. And you see another figure cloaked in black with a cane that is lit with green arcane energy, not too unlike that Mr. Arcane sometimes manifests. Similar, but different. The dead walk within this mausoleum. And the man with the cane is the master of the dead. And then the dream ends and you wake up in a cold sweat.
I go ahead and write that down because it's probably easier to remember just right after. Let everybody read it that way.
Then I assume at some point in the morning, then you all would meet back up at the sanctum.
Yeah.
If it's after 9, I'll stop by Columbia first and drop off that sample.
Okay. Yeah, I think you'd be able to do that.
Okay.
Hey guys, neat story. Had this dream.
Hmm.
But it's not what it's one of my dreams. It's not a dream. One of my dreams is like this informs your decisions. It doesn't make your decisions. Kind of a dream. So,
Well,
Audrey, do you ever have nice dreams? Yeah, that's what I thought.
yeah.
well, Hank takes a look at the scribbling that you made about the dream, and he says this figure, the female figure with the wild hair, that fits the description of what I saw both down at the docks and at the strip club when I astrally projected there and trying to perhaps read some memories of what that building might have held in regards to our missing girl. That was also the silhouette that I saw back in the back alley while we were fighting those zombies. That was the woman, I think, that was playing the drums, that was controlling the zombies while we were in battle with.
But
Yeah.
she's not the one in charge.
Yeah, apparently
Interesting.
there's somebody higher up.
You wouldn't happen to know any magi with a green cane that sometimes spouts energy, would you?
No, but if you remember, I had heard some rumblings about this guy that had taken over the Blackwell Emporium.
Hmm.
That he came from out of town recently, and there were rumors of maybe dark magic. I think this pretty much confirms it. This has got to be our guy. Priest, you said you had met this fella before, recently, when you performed a funeral ceremony there at the funeral home, right?
Yeah, the guy I met seemed rather nice. Cordial at least. Didn't seem like somebody who was going to raise the dead. But, you can't read. Well, you might can read souls, but I can't read souls, so.
Isn't that part of your job?
Come to think of it, I might can. We'll get to that another time, though. But yeah, he seemed all right when I met him. But
what would someone look like or act like that raised the dead?
Well, normally they kind of just lie there, but we're dealing with weird stuff.
The person that raises the dead just lie there?
I'm sorry, I misheard you out of character. I thought you were saying, what do they, people who are dead act like? I misheard you. My apologies. Never mind. Let's just erase that whole conversation.
Well,
White out the lettering and write something else in.
I mean, at its core, and this is Hank talking, at its core, voodoo is necromancy. And that has to be what we're dealing with here. I mean, the raising of the dead is a necromantic spell. This woman looks like she's controlling them. But I'm wondering if she's maybe not the one that actually raised them, if it's maybe this guy, this Emporium director, maybe, that is the one that's behind it. I mean, according to your vision, there is another, cloaked in black, And unfortunately, in the dream, you really didn't get a look at his face. But if you want to, why don't you make a reason roll, Mark?
Okay. Let's see. I'll go ahead and spend karma.
All right. Get that up to a yellow. I mean, physically, as far as the frame of the individual and the height, from your memory of what this guy, Desmond, was his name, if you remember correctly, physically, he fits the description. So it would be easy to kind of put two and two together to assume that perhaps this is one and the same. You know, despite his pleasant demeanor when you met him.
Yeah, and as much as I could tell from the dream, they at least had very similar builds, so it's not a hop, skip, and a jump too far to say that it could be the same person for sure.
Well, with the magical wards that are on this place, I mean, at this point, I think we probably have to go in loaded for bear.
Not a problem.
I mean, we could try to get the funeral director to come out.
That's true, and probably our best bet in that front would probably be to send the priest in.
Or flood the back of the building with dark force and force them out the front, like you're smoking out wasps from their hive.
Yeah.
That's an option too. And then the priest doesn't have to go in. And I have to admit that is nice.
But
So
wouldn't that let the guy know something is up?
I mean, it's not a subtle way to do things for certain.
There also might be, just regular folk doing regular funerary tasks in there.
Oh, I mean, if they see the dark force, they'll definitely run.
I wonder if we could call him to come out to something, though.
My only concern is that if there's magic, it can do all sorts of weird things. But Hank, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't voodoo mostly deal with, what are they, spirits, Loa, whatever they're called, as opposed to like supernatural forces like you do?
Yes, but I mean, if we're talking Loa, we're talking gods. So I work with the Vishanti. The voodoo practitioners, some necromancers work with the Loa. And the Loa are essentially just as powerful as the Vishanti.
Well, that's disappointing. Okay.
And I suppose it depends on the relationship between the practitioner and the Loa themselves, what that relationship is, how much they're willing to share their power with him. But based on the wards that are on that building, it feels like a pretty solid relationship.
There is also following up on finding another voodoo practitioner if one's in town and trying to get an informed opinion from them. That was something you brought up, Hank, as a possible avenue for us to check out. But I'm not really sure how we would go about finding another voodoo practitioner other than the one that we have found, who probably isn't going to give us a lot of helpful information on how to handle himself.
Well, we've got at least a little bit before we have to move. So let me do some thinking. on that and see if I can come up with somebody. I mean, I know of a few, but it's whether or not they're willing to speak to me.
Well, why don't we call someone in like New Orleans?
Doesn't exist here.
Oh.
That'll do it.
Well, this
What
might give Will a
big
chance to get
city
some.
is
There
down
there is
south?
a planet called New Orleans, N-E-U Orleans.
Of course there is.
And it's actually within this sector that Noir is in. Now the only thing is that very few people have the ability here to communicate planet to planet.
I will bet that they have the most amazing space beignets that you could possibly find.
Okay.
Giving you some time to try to see what comes out if you shake things might give Will a chance to have an opportunity to follow up on that fungus vial. Because you were able to pass it along to the college earlier today, right?
Yeah, I dropped it off with the biology department.
Okay. Of course, you would have an in at the biology department.
I mean, I teach at the university.
So do you want to do that while Hank does some looking around?
That probably makes the most sense.
Okay. So you head, it's Columbia, right?
Correct.
So you head on back
all the way,
over,
baby.
over to the campus, and the professor that you are working with is a man by the name of Ethan Sinclair. And Ethan, you go to his lab, and he's actually there working on the liquid as you come in. And he says, "Oh, wow, you didn't give me a whole lot of time, but I think I did maybe find something.
What you got?"
This, at its core, is typical formaldehyde embalming fluid."
Right, but it's got that musky smell.
Right. And you mentioned something about it maybe smelling like fungal.
Right.
And you're dead on with that. I cannot identify exactly what this is.
Really?
It's related to cordyceps.
Okay, that makes sense.
But whatever this is, for lack of a better word, alien in nature.
Okay.
It's not something that would be found here on Noir, much less here on the Isle of Manhattan.
What about in one of the other planets in system, like New Orleans or something?
I mean, that's a possibility. I don't know much about that. I don't make the kind of coin that allows for interplanetary travel with my family.
You and me both.
But I mean, that's possible.
Now, what would happen if a person had this in their bloodstream?
Well, if it's in the bloodstream, the good thing about it is you and I are standing here over top of this. We're breathing normally. We're breathing this in, and it's not going to affect us. So
Well,
it's not airborne. I can at least tell you that. And he takes you over to a microscope, and he's got a little petri dish. He takes one little drop of the substance and places it in the center of the petri dish. And you watch, I mean, you don't even have to look under the microscope, but you just watch this thing just branch out within seconds, and the whole thing turns black.
Huh.
If this substance got into the blood of another individual, it would completely overtake their nervous system and enter the brain within seconds, minutes at most.
Okay.
But, and then he gets out a canister of liquid nitrogen and places the petri dish like on top of the open canister, so that the smoke that's coming out from it, just kind of engulfs it a little bit. You basically, like, you could see the stuff just almost like rippling in there once it reached its maximum. It was alive, so it was like just kind of moving ever so slightly. You see very quickly as it's introduced to the cold, that ripple stop. He says, "Now, I didn't kill it." And he takes the petri dish off and places it back down, and within about maybe 1 minute or so, you start to see it move again. The cold puts it in a dormant state.
Okay. Interesting. I think it's probably for the best if we don't tell anyone about this. Wouldn't want to cause a panic, right?
I've worked with you enough to know to keep my mouth shut.
Good. So I'm going to take half of this sample and leave the other half for you to experiment with. Just for safekeeping.
Okay.
If you find out anything else, Ethan, let me know. I will be in touch later on today.
Okay. That sounds good. Thanks. Thank you for bringing this to me.
I always bring you the best toys. Come on.
You do.
That one will get you published.
So I walk down in the elevator, just kind of look at it and go, "And aren't you going to be a wonderful toy?" Pocket.
While Will was at Columbia, Hank made a couple of phone calls and got in touch with somebody. And around about the time that Will is coming back, you guys see a tall Caucasian gentleman with long white hair walk into the sanctum. He's dressed in kind of a drab tweed suit, but has like this, instead of like a tie, he's got like this golden, like feathered collar underneath. And within his hair, he's got woven like white feathers in his hair. And Hank introduces him to you guys. Ladies, gentlemen, let me introduce you to the White Angel of Death. This is Norman Vidal, one of the few practitioners of voodoo magic that I'm aware of here on the Isle of Manhattan. He's agreed to talk to us before we go where we're going. Norman, these are the reclaimers.
Pleasure to meet you.
It is a pleasure to meet all of you as well.
Hello.
Hello.
Burden waves.
Hey there.
So, Hank tells me that you have had a run-in with the Walking Dead. And you believe that it is somehow connected to voodoo practice.
Yep.
Seems likely.
The individuals that you came across bear something called the ferryman's mark, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
This is an old symbol, not connected specifically with voodoo magic, but it crosses many different belief systems, many different schools of thought. It's an ancient occult sigil. Binds the dead to the will of another. This is something that is more than just a resurrection. It is a contract. It's a binding contract. This mark doesn't just raise a corpse, it chains it. The bearer of the mark becomes a passenger, trapped between life and death, ferried not to the afterlife, but to servitude. The only thing keeping them from slipping beneath the veil is the power of the one who paid the toll. There are individuals like me, voodoo practitioners, and death worshippers, who invoke the mark in rare, high-cost rituals, usually when they need the dead to do more than just shamble.
What is the usual cost?
Within voodoo, it is a marriage of sorts between the Loa and the practitioner. There's a pact that is formed. Upon the practitioner's death, then they would become one with the Loa used for their purpose. Be that for good or for evil. Loa are a gray area. They do not know the meaning of good. They do not know the meaning of evil. They are Loa.
And a human make bargains for more than one person.
The human may bargain for more than one person? For multiple constructs? Is that what you ask?
Yes.
Yes. The symbol would have to be placed on an individual that is a follower of the belief system or a member of the deceased as a means of control. After resurrection.
they get resurrected first and then enslaved by the mark?
I suppose it depends on the technique of the practitioner. Safety would suggest that the mark be placed on the corpse before resurrection, but it can be placed after.
Okay. Good to know.
Is there a way to counteract the mark? Like a protection against it?
There might be certain spells outside of voodoo practice that would nullify the effect, but that would be a powerful spell, and one would have to know how to access it. Now, a layman would simply carve the symbol off of the chest, which is a dangerous proposition, especially if this beast is attempted to claw out your throat and eat your brains. But nullifying the symbol in some way, whether that be through fire, through carving it off, erasing it, would at least bring the corpse back to a more simple zombie.
You know much about wards that these folks use?
Aye.
Hank said his place was warded all up.
I would have to see it firsthand to see if that would be something that I would be able to counteract.
What do those kind of things do?
Well, from what Hank described to me, is it was a powerful yet simple ward to block scrying, to block astral travel, which is apparently what it was that Hank was attempting. So I don't know if there is a physical aspect to it, if these wards would affect non-magic users or not. We also don't know whether or not it would counteract spells that would be cast within its parameters. It is possible, depending on the power of the caster.
Okay, well. I don't know about the rest of you, but I feel like we're overthinking this. I say we go get him.
Yeah, at least talk. We'll work it out.
The get 'em plan.
Yep.
Am I back yet or no?
You were back to hear all of that.
Okay, cool.
Well, do we want to invite him on our field trip, or do we want to just go solo?
Depends. You willing to come and see what's what?
I'm curious to know that there is possibly another practitioner of my type of magic here. It is rare. I would be curious to know where he came from.
Well, maybe we'll get a chance to talk before things go south.
Well, then
Wonderful.
let's get him.
Will, you can tell us what you found out while we're en route, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. It's not any kind of fungus that they're familiar with. Looks like it's related to cordyceps, which is a fungus that mostly infects ants. Said it's not airborne, so we don't have to worry about anything from us being around it and breathing it in. He's going to keep working on it and see if we can find anything else.
Cool.
Well, what is it? 10 o'clock?
Yeah, probably closer to 11 now. Yeah.
So pretty early.
Any civilized practitioner of voodoo should be awake by this hour, right?
Are you guys gonna hail a cab like you did before?
Sure, why not? we don't have
6 cabs.
We don't have a reclaimer mobile.
Yeah, we need to work on that.
Just stretch limo. There you go.
All right, so you call for a cab, which arrives about 15 minutes later, and make your way north to the shadows of Harlem. Cab ride is pretty quiet. Nobody's got much to say because everything's pretty much been said at this point, and the driver's too smart to ask questions. There's a little bit of rain that taps along the windows as you make your way there. Harlem is not exactly the Harlem that you read about in the rags. It's got a soul. Jazz clubs, like beating hearts tucked behind boarded windows. But it's got something else too. Something old. Something watching. Kind of place where legends go to rot or rise. You guys give him directions, or he knows basically where it is that he's going, the cab driver. He drops you off about a block away from the Emporium, where you tell him to stop. And the cab pulls away with a grumble and a hiss. Tires hissing like a serpent slithering off into the night. The block is quiet. Too quiet. Storefronts are closed. Lights are dimmed. Trash skitters along the gutters like it's trying to flee. Blackwell and Sons stands at the center of the block like it doesn't belong. A Gothic relic nestled between tenement ghosts. Turrets where there should be brick, gargoyles perched like sentinels, judging everything that dares pass by. The windows are black as pitch, no light, no sign of life. Just to the right of the main building, an alley separates it from the attached crematorium. Squat, square, and heavy with the smell of burnt secrets. The street is empty, aside from 2 bundled homeless figures sleeping beneath a crumbling awning across from the funeral home. As you guys make your way down towards the funeral home, I know you're maybe not getting too close, but just to get within a bird's eye view of it. Just to the right, something catches your eye. There's a flickering lamppost there that just does not want to give in to the light of day. And underneath it, there are 2 strange performers that move in this eerie synchronicity. They're dressed in tight bodysuits, their faces hidden beneath skull-like masks. Half mime, half mannequin. They juggle silently. No music, no crowd, just the wet slap of weighted pins and soft squeak of gloved fingers. One of them, this one right here.
I'm still seeing
Oh,
just
you're
the
not there
main
yet?
screen.
Okay, sorry, I thought I pulled you. Let me try again here. This has been moving a little slow for some reason.
Yeah, from my look at the map, we're all still on the sort of generic Marvel Galaxies noir kind of. Here we go.
There we go.
Loading Harlem.
Loading Harlem.
It is taking a while. What is going on? Are y'all seeing anything yet?
No, 86%.
Oh, it's okay. So it is loading at least.
Well, it's been at 86 for a while.
Pretty much since it opened, it's been at 86. Yeah.
Yeah, it flipped to me. It was at 86 when I first saw the screen, and now it's just.
I still got 86.
Yeah.
I'm gonna refresh.
You cannot switch scenes until resources finish loading for your current view.
Okay, so that was me. So sorry.
Okay.
I was trying to pull you maybe to a different map to see if that would help, but
No,
Is
mine
this one-
is still stuck on 86.
Is this one of your super duper fancy maps with lots
87.
Woo.
no.
There we
of
go.
effects? Oh,
Nope.
87.
There's literally no effects on this map.
Now I've just got a
Man.
blank screen.
It's still black, but I'm at 87, 89.
94 at the moment.
Eventually it'll get there.
Yeah,
this,
it's moving.
this is like waiting for a song to download in the Napster days and praying
Right.
nobody picked up the phone.
Dial up.
Well,
I was going to go with Waiting for Godot.
while it's loading, I'll continue to tell you what it is that you see. So one of those two performers pauses a moment to bow, holding a hand out as if asking you to step closer. A second pin catches fire midair. And then that is when it hits. A lance of crackling energy tears through the air from the funeral home rooftop just across the street. And you catch on top of the building a glimpse of a woman in purple and gold. Almost like a medieval knight cast in neon and madness. Her armor gleams even in the gloom of the rainy street, and her hand crackling with another charge. Behind you, a blur of black cloak emerges from nowhere. You've heard of this guy, the Shroud. Moving like a shadow with a grudge and silent as sin. Overhead, a woman with moth wings descends like a funeral dirge, her wings fluttering with cruel elegance, eyes glowing with anticipation. Those two homeless men leap up like marionettes pulled by death itself, one swinging a noose that hisses as it cuts the air, the other holding a scarlet scarf that slithers toward you like it's got a mind of its own. And from the alley in front of you, they come. Two corpse-like figures, reeking of embalming fluid and sin. One carries a rusted pickaxe. The other drags a broken shovel, its blade caked in something dark. These aren't your average zombies. They're something worse. And they remember pain. So hopefully now you all are on the map and you can see everything.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I like the map. Very nice setup here.
So looking at the
cool.
map and where everybody is, if you hover over each of them, you can see kind of a little portrait of everybody. Over here on this side, the two performers, right here and here, these are the brothers Grimm.
They both say Grim 1. I'm
They do.
assuming
All right.
one should be Grim 2.
One should be Grimm 2, yes.
They're facing in different directions, though.
Yeah. That's a copy paste issue there for me as far as the Grim one. Up around the crook of the building to your left, the right of the screen, you have the Hangman and Tatterdemalion. Up on top of the roof that is now flying down right here is Gypsy Moth. Over on the opposite roof right over here that had shot the plasma bolt at you guys is Belladonna. And coming out of the alley are Cadaver and Digger.
Oh.
And this is the night shift. And I think...
But it's noon.
It is noon.
But this is
They're
a
not
noir
on for another 6 hours.
Yeah, but this is a noir universe, so it's always kind of it's always night.
Fair.
Remember that movie from the 90s, Night City?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that.
Also, I feel like it's kind of got just random dirigibles, like in the Batman animated series, for no good
Yeah.
reason.
It has to.
All right. Well, if you haven't done so already, I think now would probably be a good time to roll initiative because these fuckers are coming after you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Spartan, I will roll for you first.
Oh, shit.
And Tank will roll for Tank. And you have a +2. You already have a +2 generally, so you're at basically like 11, I think.
Doesn't she get an extra one for the spear now?
Yes, and
Okay.
she's always had a +2, and
Okay.
now she has an additional +2 when she's using her spear.
Sweet.
No,
So-
just one. +1 to initiative, +2 column shifts.
That's right.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry.
10.
But her base initiative was +2, so it'd be a +3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. So let's see here. Boy, you guys rolled terrible.
Yep.
Priest, what's
Oh
your
my,
bonus?
yes, wow. The only,
+4.
Spartan's the only one who's you're gonna move first, the rest of us are gonna be standing there going, huh?
And Tank, you got a bonus?
I have no bonus.
All
Speed is not Tank's, thing.
And
It's not my idiom.
Fiend?
I rolled a 2 and I have a +1.
Okay. All right. Well, Spartan, you get to start us off.
Eh,
Do you want to do multi-action?
yes. Would I roll for that?
It's your fighting, and do you want to spend karma?
Yes.
Okay, so just roll your raw fighting, no bonuses, so incredible. Okay, green, and hold on. Wrong thing. I got the damn chart up here. So that was a 41. If you spend about 25 points, you can get up to a yellow, which will give you 2 actions, if I understand correctly. Okay, I will take that off. You have a lot of karma. You've got 1,400 in your game pool, so don't worry about it.
Okay. I'm going to take my spear and riding my Pegasus head for Gypsy Moth to poker.
Okay.
And with the weapon mastery, what is her freaking fighting with the spear now?
I advanced that for you already, so it's monstrous.
Okay, roll the monstrous.
And I call karma.
Okay, what would it take to get a red result with that? 73.
Need a 86.
Yeah, 13 points of karma to get a red, so I think that's worth it.
Yeah.
20, 17.
And then how much damage does that do?
Ghost Bane is she's using melee, so that's amazing. Incredible edge damage, but reduces armor of target by 2 column shifts.
Oh, okay. All right. So let's see here. So update brings her down to good. Well, that would be 30 points of damage.
And first blood is drawn by the aerator.
And I'm going to try to erase her again. I put the sparrow book back in, and I call karma. And again, that's amazing.
No, you're fighting as monstrous now.
Oh,
With the
sorry.
spell.
Well, you can just keep the 82. I'll just look on the monstrous table,
Yeah.
especially since you rolled a 24
Yeah.
for that one. Yeah, keep the 82. 82 monstrous, and with the minimum karma, that's going to be a second red result.
Okay.
And take off the karma cost, and yeah.
Now, actually, you can save that third one because she goes down and she is dying.
Oh,
We
yeah.
probably have to stabilize her because otherwise we lose a lot of karma. Since I think she's a human.
I hop off the horse and try to stabilize her.
All right, make a reason feat.
Okay, hold on. Oh, we hardly ever roll reason for you. Reason is reason is typical. You definitely want to call karma on this one.
Yeah, I call karma.
Oh, look at that.
yeah.
Wow, holy.
Wow.
Pat, you're fine.
She's
Yeah.
fine.
I waste 10, but it's worth it.
She now owes you a life debt.
Guts come out, guts go back in. There we go.
All right. Well, that was quick.
Fortunately, you've now drawn aggro.
And Shroud then goes next. And he sees what happened. And disappears into the shadows.
And realizes he's not even supposed to be here today.
And then steps out of the shadows near where Spartan is. Gets a 63.
Can I block him?
Well, nothing to block. And let's see here. This is animation. Do a smoke patch. All right, it's kind of hard to see, but see how this area here is lit up?
Yeah.
That little area there now is in complete blackness. And any actions that are made from outside of that or inside of it is at a -3 column shift.
Am I able to see in that?
You can.
I thought I probably could.
Mm-hmm. And then I think he might have another action here. Let's just see. Yep, he does. He gets a 45 to strike you across the chin, Spartan. And that does excellent damage, so 20 points of damage.
And her armor is remarkable protection from physical attacks.
Okay. And that would work, and since he just got a green, he didn't get a yellow, he doesn't make full purchase on her chin and kind of hits her more in the upper chest, so it bounces off of her armor. All right, then we go to Digger. Digger shuffles past the aura of darkness and is heading towards Tank. He's the one that's... Oops, that was an accident. Didn't mean to roll that. He's the one that's got the shovel. And he got a 71 to hit with that. Are you going to take it?
I haven't rolled to see how many actions I get yet, but if I can evade, I will. I think evading is
fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's for melee, right? You evade in melee, you dodge in range. So I will evade, and I don't have any specific bonuses to that, so I just roll my main fighting flat out. I do not have permission to execute the macro. Okay, I'll just run it from here for some reason. So I got a green on my evade. I did not say anything about karma, so we'll just leave it at green.
Alrighty. So it's a -2 column shift. Still is in the yellow for him, so you are going to take 40 points of damage.
If that's physical, it will bounce off my metal hide.
Okay.
Yeah, I have incredible resistance to physical and energy, except for the exceptions we've noted.
All right.
There's probably a loud kawamang, and he's standing there, vibrating like in a cartoon where you hit something, with a crowbar and it doesn't break, but you do.
All right, and you see, and it does. It goes klong, and it vibrates with him, and he looks at it. I'm going to have him make a reason feat because he's not that smart. Yep, nope, he's going to smack you again with it. And got a white and missed with his second shot. After that, we go to the hangman. And he is going to throw a rope. Let's see, we got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Ooh, just perfect. He takes like one step in and throws a rope around Tank in order to ensnare him.
Does my dodge still apply, or do I have to re-roll?
Well, you're doing evade, so this is a distance attack, so this would be a dodge. If you want to,
I can't.
If you want to switch, you can. You got to spend 50 karma points to switch. And he got a 100 to get you, so even if you did...
Yeah, I'm not gonna... Well, you saved me spending 50 karma points then, yeah.
That's 2 of those we've seen tonight.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so I am wrapped in rope. I'm kind of looking at it like rope. I can break anchor chains, buddy. And of course, the player is thinking this is probably magic rope, but the character is just going to assume it's rope, and he will snap out of it literally as soon as his initiative comes up.
Let's see here. Where is ensnared? I think I've got... There it is, right there, restrained. Okay. All right, next up is Cadaver, who also goes around the blackness and is coming around towards Priest.
Evade.
Out of his back, he's got this, like, handle, it looks like, sticking out of his back, and he pulls it out with this squelching sound, just this... And this long sword comes out of his torso. And he got a 79 to hit you with the Sword of Bone. And it also catches fire, by the way.
Oh, lovely.
It just ain't right, son. As I said, evade.
Yeah, that would be evade.
And is that fighting?
Fighting, yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I have acrobatics. So, okay, and I'll call karma, and I'll bring myself up to a red.
Okay. That's -6 CS. And that will take him down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's still a green, so it still hits.
Okay.
You would take 40 points of damage from the sword itself, plus an additional 30 in fire.
Okay. So I will take that off my health. It's 70.
And unfortunately, he's just got the one action.
No armor on priest anymore?
No, I have it, but I was planning on calling it before we actually started combat, but combat kind of started before I could technically call
right.
it.
You have the force field. Right.
Yeah, I'm kind of SOL at the moment.
No.
That is okay. That was a nice smattering.
Belladonna parkours over to the edge of the portion of the building that's closest to you all to kind of get a little bit of a better angle. And she spots the other blonde bombshell directly across and takes aim with her plasma blast. Got a 15 and missed with that one.
She just kind of like steps to the side.
And a 12 for her second attack. So
and then
misses.
does a little turn, steps out of the way of the other one too.
All right, priest.
Okay. I'll go ahead and do multiple actions.
Okay.
So, I'm not calling karma.
60. So get it up to yellow. That would get you your 3.
Yeah. You wouldn't happen to know how many points that would be, would you?
Let's see. On the incredible, you got to get it up to 61.
Okay.
So
just 10.
Just
Thank
10.
You. Oof.
All right. So I have 3 actions. One of them will be putting my force field on. At this point, nobody's grappled by either of the by cadaver or digger. Am I right on that?
Yeah, nobody's grappled, right?
Okay. Then,
Tank does have a rope though.
By the hangman.
Yeah, by the hangman on the other side. I'll go ahead and craft a snub nose gun, kind of shoddy styled gun that has that flaming property, and I'll just spout some flame onto both digger and cadaver.
Okay.
Really, I'm trying to not only take them out but also burn those marks off their chest if they are there.
Make an intuition roll for me, please.
Sure. Intuition.
38. You do not spot those marks on either one of these two.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
They're not controlled. They're just dicks.
With my intuition roll, can I tell that they are zombies, though?
With that intuition roll, probably not. I mean, they look like it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll take a different tack then. I'm going to hit the one who has the bone sword. I'm going to use the daggers of light on him. So I will use that. And that is at monstrous. So have like the light sizzle across his hands and cast it at him.
And then you're going to get that up to a red.
I didn't call karma.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, all right. No. So if we subtract 2 column shifts from that on the monstrous table, that's what, 53. That actually will bring it down to a green. Still hits. So how much damage does that do?
It does 30 damage. He gets a -2 if he tries to attack me in the next round, and you have to do an endurance roll to see if he is stunned.
Okay. Ooh, he is stunned. For 2 rounds.
Okay. And then with my my other remaining light daggers of light, I'll go ahead and try hitting Digger with it. So, and for this one, I will go ahead and call Karma.
1.
I'll bring that up to a yellow.
All right, so that would take you up to 51 by spending 10. But then I think he's got an evade. He does. So that brings you back down to green. So it still hits. What's your damage there again?
30.
30. Let's see what kind of resistance he's got. No resistance. All right, and then he has to roll endurance as well, right?
Right.
38. Okay. So he is stunned for 1 round.
Okay. And that is all my turn.
All right. Mr. Arcane. So, the 2 that you just attacked, Mr. Arcane focuses his energy on the 2 that are stunned. He knows they're not down for the count at this point, so his intent now is to try to put them down for the count. And he basically does an incantation that says, let sleeping dogs lie, return to the grave, and casts a spell to see what he can do against those 2. 51. Okay. We don't know what's happened to them just yet, but Mr. Arcane weaves some magic, at least.
And put his shield up, right? Smack.
Well, you didn't remind him, so no.
Well, I haven't had a chance to go yet.
Is our other magical fellow who came with us on the...
Oh yeah, he's around. I made him up on the spot, so I don't have a token for him.
Okay.
let me get something out there.
I'm guessing he's standing way the hell back
Way
here.
back.
You guys go ahead.
Good job, the lore with you or something.
I'll throw George Stacy out there just to represent him.
Cool.
Okay, so Tatterdemalion goes. Tatterdemalion steps in a little closer, but not too close. And that scarf, that red scarf that's around his neck, he uses it to stretch out in Tank's direction as well.
So a rope and scarf, Tank.
Got
They're
a
hitting you with the heavy artillery.
58
Yeah.
to grapple you.
Now I have wrestling. I know that helps me grapple. Does it help me avoid grapples?
It, in order to get out of it, yes. It won't help you necessarily avoid it in this instance.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want to escape, yeah, you can use that to escape. And then we go to the Brothers Grimm. They have one action apiece. So both of them are juggling these kind of bowling pins that are kind of lit in fire. And they're launching them at the group. The first one misses, but the second one is going to make a purchase. And they're kind of coming around the corner here and here. And one of them is throwing, the one that hit is going to hit Priest.
Okay. Yeah, and I have evade on, so I'm not going to be able to dodge it. How much damage does it do?
That one is going to do remarkable damage. 30 points.
Okay, so basically it hits against the shield and you see it spark off.
Bombshell.
Okay. So Shelly is going to stride forward. Her eyes are basically locked on Belladonna, but she gets to hear, stops, looks to the side. I'm going to roll for multiple actions.
Now, where you just moved is inside the darkness.
Oh, it's in the darkness?
Mhm.
Okay, never mind
so
then.
if you go there, you're okay.
I don't. Can I do that from there? I don't know. Hang on, let's just see. Can I do that? I don't know if that hits them both. I don't think I have the angle.
I think you can just nick him. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Rolling for multiple attacks. Base fighting. Calling karma.
Good thing.
Wow.
Oof.
I'll take it up to a green.
All right.
So much for those hundreds from earlier.
Yeah, I was kind of excited when I saw the 00. I'm like, ooh, oh. Get to a green on incredible. Whatever, I'll worry about that later. Okay, I'm guessing with a green, I just have the 2.
The 2 attacks. Oh yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because I kind of forgot to do the fan roll thing, so I'm not gonna give myself the benefit of that. So yeah, just step forward. Then she stops, looks at those 2, stretches her hand out, and zap. Spend karma on this as well. This is incredible to hit. Wow, what is going on here? Woo. I'll spend take that to a green as well.
Okay.
Oh, an 8 and a 4. Wow.
Yep.
So the next roll is a 2?
I'm guessing, yeah.
And what's damage on that?
That's amazing damage.
Okay.
And then she is going to fly the rest of the way up there. And
before you do that, I need you to make an endurance roll, please.
Okay. Endurance roll. Endurance is currently at incredible. Sure, I'll call karma on this, given my current rolling situation.
It was not a 2.
Okay. 59. 2 yellow.
So you got a yellow?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a moment of a wave of nausea that comes over you, and you realize that the cloak that the tatterdemalion is wearing is emitting some sort of horrible stench.
Oh, okay.
It's like mildew and mold and
Oof.
like decay, and it's nasty.
Okay, well, and in that case, I'm over here now.
Okay.
And yeah, so she tried to hit me, I'll return the favor. She's wearing armor, so we'll find out if it's magical armor. I'm gonna charge up the blade and try to hit her with the Kopesh, the Pharaoh's Sentinel. And I guess I'll spend karma on this too, given what's been going on.
61 is a yellow. I'm sure that will hit. She has a -4 column shift on the evade. Did you call karma on that?
I did call karma
Okay.
on that. I kind of maybe shoulda, but
So it'll still keep it in a yellow.
okay.
And damage on that.
Well,
A
hang on.
lot.
86.
Ooh, okay.
And it ignores armor unless it's magical.
Oh, ignores the armor. Okay, well then that does it.
Thought
so
she would have been sturdier.
you take one slice at her, and then she crumples. I'm going to make an endurance roll for her.
Okay.
82 is not dying, but she
Okay.
is out.
You are the better battle blonde.
I mean, it just had to be demonstrated. That's all.
Battle of the Blondes. This will go down. This will go down in history.
All right, Will.
Okay. I will turn into the fiend
Mm-hmm.
and spend karma to roll for multiple actions. So that will be
I did not realize my video has been off.
No. I thought
I
you were
didn't
just
notice
shy tonight.
right. So that'll be 2 from there. Okay, so there.
$70.
You know what? How much does it cost to get up to red?
See the incredible. Well, actually, you don't even need to, because at the yellow that would get you your 3.
Okay, so I will just spend the 10 then. Okay, so my first action, I'm going to use my Dark Force manipulation and take his Dark Force.
Okay.
Because no, that's gimmick infringement. What we're going to
dare
do
you, sir?
is we're going to use our first action to use Dark Force manipulation and solidify it around his head in like a solid brick.
Okay.
So I'm guessing that's a roll. So that would be okay. The incredible +2 is monstrous. We'll spend karma on this too.
$52. Probably spend a lot to get that up to a red.
So I'm guessing that's probably around like 30 or 40 to get it up there.
86 to get it up there.
So I'm not doing math. 86 minus 52. So 34. I'll do that.
Okay.
Now that we've got him nice and encapsulated, I will use my second action to send him straight up in the air as far as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And then my third action to send him straight back down into the ground as fast as I can.
Okay.
So with my Dark Force manipulation of Monstrous,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how far up I can get him and send him back down.
Pretty
but
high, probably.
That's kind of what I
yeah.
figured.
Mm-hmm. It'll be at least 3 areas, which is going to be the max anyway. So
Okay. So yeah, and then we'll have him do a charging attack on the concrete, I guess.
okay, go ahead and make that roll, or both of those rolls.
Okay. So 2 rolls at Monstrous. I will call Karma on both. Because that would be embarrassing.
86 will get him up in the air.
I was about to say, apparently I didn't really need to that time. And the second one, Karma again.
Also didn't need it
Jesus Christ.
You're
We
in a
both
good
know it would
spot
have
on
been
the
a
map.
2 if I didn't do it, though, right?
So that would be potentially 75. Well, let's see here. So 150 points of damage. actually.
Oh,
Which will bypass any defense that he has. And you slam him to the ground. I'm rolling endurance for him. Ugh, he's dying at 11.
Eh.
And then we go to tank.
As he smashes into the ground.
wait,
we'll just
I'm
look at him and he
actually
goes-
I'm actually in this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
As he smashes, we'll just look at him as like, poser.
Okay, I guess my first I've already Spartan rolled. I need to roll for multiple actions, and I am calling Karma on this.
Okay.
My fighting is now I assume when I'm restrained I basically can't do much. I have to break out of restraint to do anything else, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I have remarkable fighting. I am calling Karma, which was a good thing.
Mhm.
Holy wow.
Mhm. Welcome to my pain.
Wowzers. Okay, how much karma do I
Hey.
need just to get that up to green?
You need,
There's the 2 we've been expecting.
need to spend 34.
I have no choice. Having called it, I must expend it, and if I expend less than 10, what's the point? 34, you said?
Yep.
Expended. And so my first action will be to attempt to break out of these bonds. So how does that?
Wrestling.
Okay. I have wrestling. It says unearthly to hit, amazing damage. So I don't know. Does that add a bonus to my normal fighting to break out, or my agility?
No, it's just the unearthly. Just the unearthly.
Yeah, just
Really? I do amazing damage to the ropes, huh? Okay. Unearthly, rather. Okay. I'm still calling Karma because the way I've been rolling lately. Okay. I will bring that up to a yellow on unearthly.
All right.
That's a 33. Yeah, there'll be 10 points to bring it up to 12 points to bring it up to yellow. I can do first grade math. Okay, so that's a yellow result to break out of the rope. I assume it has something to do with the strength of the material, or if it's magical or whatever.
Yeah, usually it's the strength, but it is magical. Both of them actually are magical.
Okay.
The Tatterdemalion scarf, you are able to easily wiggle your way out of that one, but the rope still holds.
Huh.
And, well, actually, it won't take place till the beginning of next round. So you have one more action.
Okay, so I'm still tangled in a rope. Is the rope still attached to the guy who roped me? Was
Yep.
that Hangman over here?
Yep.
I'm going to try to do something a little different then. I'm going to grab the rope and pull him towards me. And basically kind of do the, use the rope to throw him into a building.
You could reverse charge him into your fist.
All right, make a strength. Actually, you can roll that under wrestling as well.
So unearthly.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, it's just want to double check on what we have written down here because I don't want to be cheating. It's unearthly to hit and amazing damage. So, okay, unearthly. I'm still spending karma. Okay, I probably cannot afford to get that up to a red if I want to save it. 46 and a red is, yeah, I'll just spend the 10 and leave it at yellow.
All right. Yep, you pull him in, and your endurance is amazing, yeah?
Hold on, let me check. I think it's incredible. I know we've wanted to increase it, but I haven't quite gotten around to it yet.
And your body armor is...
My body armor is also...
also incredible.
I have remarkable resistance and incredible body armor.
All right. Well, regardless, it's enough to at least knock him out.
Bang.
Yeah, he's out for sure.
Okay.
But not dying.
If you don't mind, could you just kind of fling him over to here? I really just kind of wanted to grab him and do a, centrifugal force him right into the other building.
Okay. Yep.
Just for dramatic effect,
You'd be hangman.
And as you do so, the rope around you kind of loosens enough where you'll be able to slip out of it without a problem.
Okay.
And that was round one.
Tug of War champion at Camp Kokomo 2 years running.
All right, so we come back around to Spartan. Spartan, the darkness has fallen, so you are not at a minus column shift anymore.
Okay.
We're running out of opponents here.
But you do need to make an endurance roll for me, please, because now that you're not protected by the darkness, now you can smell tatterdemalion.
Your endurance is remarkable.
Roll saving throw
odor.
versus gross.
I was supposed to say weaponized body odor. You gotta love it.
I will call karma on this.
Okay. Let's see if you can get that up to a yellow cheaply. Remarkable. 57. Yeah, spending 10 points will kick you up to remarkable.
Okay.
So
you're safe.
Minimum yellow. I meant yellow. You know what I meant. Get a yellow result, because sometimes with these kinds of saves you need to get better than a green. So okay. And does she need to reroll for her 2 actions, or does she still have them?
Still got them.
Okay.
Since I'm off the horse, I'll run over to the lower grim, erase him, and I'd call karma again. Is that amazing?
Oops, sorry, I minimized the thing. You're attacking
Monstrous.
Yeah, with your spear you are now monstrous.
Okay. Not gold karma.
Yeah.
So it should be a red.
Okay. Let's see, 76. You'll need to spend 14 to get it to red, so let's go with that.
Sounds good.
Careful with those red results on deadly weapons.
Yeah,
That's going to get expensive.
You might need to make another heal check.
I'm seeing a variety of paws under the door.
A variety of paws? Any little black ones?
The first one was black and the last one was white. So probably booster.
All right, so you poke him with your pointy stick and poke a hole in him, but he's still up.
And my second action, I will poke him again and call karma.
Alrighty.
All right, that would be a lot. I would say just leave that at yellow. Yeah, because that's pretty much the bottom end of the yellow roll. It'll be almost 30 points to get it up to red, so just leave it at yellow.
Yeah, just...
And
I
that,
call karma anyway, so
Yeah.
wouldn't it be 10?
Yep, I'll take it off.
and
There
that
we go.
hits, and he does go down. It would be Digger, but he's stunned. Hangman's out. Cadaver's out. Belladonna's out. It goes to Priest.
And Priest is going to hold his turn until after Mr. Arcane because he was aware Mr. Arcane took an action against Digger and Cadaver.
Okay.
Now the pot's black.
So Mr. Arcane is going to roll for multiple actions and put up his shield. $48. No extra actions, but he doesn't act at a negative. So Arcane is going to fly towards the building, putting a little bit of space in between him and the Brothers Grimm. And he's going to shoot an Eldritch Blast at one of the brothers. Got a 48 to hit. Which does, I think, is that incredible? Yes. And it makes purchase, but does not put him down. We go now to Tatterdemalion.
Nope, Priest.
Oh.
I said I was going to go.
Oh, you're going to go right after? Okay, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. I will throw a dagger of light at Tatterdemalion. So, and spark up. And I'll call Karma on that. Yeah.
Good thing.
Yeah, I guess I'll bring it to green.
And then damage on that.
30. Not trying to kill him.
All right, he is down for the count. That took care of him.
Okay. Then take a step forward and assume boxing stance and begin pummeling Digger.
Yeah, you can see him beginning to stir at this point.
So I'll call Karma for the first and bring it to green.
31.
31
Mm-hmm.
for that? Okay. Okay. And I'll also call Karma for the next one. These are both 40 apiece.
Okay.
And I'll just spend 10, I guess, on the next one.
All right, so you're putting him down. And you said you just spent 10 on the second one?
Yeah, because I don't think that bringing it to yellow really doesn't have any effect on the damage. So.
All right. And Bombshell.
Indeed. Wow, it came around to me so much faster this time.
Yeah, when there's not that many enemies still standing.
Yep. So I think Shelly will fly over here and descend on this guy, just landing right on top of him. Shoes right into his shoulder, just drive him right into the pavement.
Okay.
I'm guessing that's kind of a charge?
Yep.
Roll endurance.
Yep.
Okay, Karma. Good thing I called it. Wow, not great rolls this time.
Spend your 10 to get it up to the green.
Okay.
And he's dodging, so that's not going to work in this case because that is a physical attack. So, How much damage?
She has the sword out. She's wielding it, so her strength is currently amazing. But I don't know if that's increased because of the
It
charge.
it,
I don't
it
know.
don't matter.
It's enough. Okay.
Endurance for him 46. He's not dying.
Cool. She wasn't trying to kill him anyway, so.
And Will. Oh, actually, I mean, Bombshell, you still got one.
Oh yeah, she
one or
does have an
two?
action. That's true. Um, peeking around the corner here. Is this guy really taking no damage at all?
He is not taking damage. He's stunned, though.
Okay, and this guy is almost out.
Mm-hmm.
He's looking bad for a dead guy.
All right. I'll Zort both of these guys.
Zort.
Karma as well, because, spend it all, why not?
There's your shirt,
There you
Bombshell.
go.
Zort shirt.
Alrighty.
And damage on that?
50.
50. All right, Will.
All right. Well, hey, that Zort didn't do a lot to that guy.
No, surprisingly resilient to Zorts.
Yeah. I guess I'll move here, and I will call Karma and do a Dark Force Claw attack on him. That is incredible. Incroyable. Oh no, we gotta get that to a green.
And damage on that?
Dark Force manipulation is monstrous. So that's what the claws are, and his base strength is incredible.
So it'd be amazing.
Okay. So, yep.
Okay, so that would be.
How much karma did I need? Where's my universal table? There we go. That one. Okay. Open. Open.
What was his? What's the strength again?
Strength is incredible, and the Dark Force claws are monstrous.
All right, so 8, 7.
Incredible 20. Needs to get to 31. So actually, only 11.
And then, do you have another action?
I have 2 more actions.
Okay.
Sorry, just making sure that the karma got written down. Okay. Okay, he's aggravating me because there's just not, he's more resilient than I wanted him to be. So I am going to use my telekinesis and try to fling him in a straight line against this wall over here.
All right.
TK is incredible. I will spend karma once again. Dude. Oh my god. Well,
I knew you were going to pay for that round.
Yeah, I gotta get it up to 31, so 31 minus 12 equals 19 minus. So yeah, I'll take it up to a green.
All right. Well, you heard some bones crunch on that one, at least.
That's good. And I guess for my last thing, I will move down here and try to make him not die.
All right. Reason feat.
Okay. And we'll do karma one more time. Because I don't fucking trust you. That's why. Okay. So I'll take it up to a green.
All the brains in the world.
All right, tank.
Okay. Okay, we are no longer in nearly as target-rich an environment as we were.
No, it's gotten sparse.
One might almost say Spartan.
One could indeed.
Yeah.
Looks like Cadaver's about the only one. A time for his, charge and batter up routine, I guess. Since I do have the magic Asgardian mace that in this universe looks like a spiked baseball bat. I will charge and I will say, might as well batter up. Not quite its clobbering time, but it'll have to do. I will, of course, spend some karma on this. My to hit with the shield breaker is incredible.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. Ooh, and I can't spend karma on a 1, can I?
Nope. You still got
How is this? I'm looking up at this thing and I just see white.
Still got to spend 10, but
I will take off the 10 and nothing will happen. Or do we have critical miss rules in this?
You probably I think your anticipation probably is that he was up, but he was unconscious when Fiend flung him against the wall, so he hit the wall and then fell down, and then you smashed the side of the building and created a big hole in the side of the building.
That's what slumlords get around here.
Yeah, very traditional for superheroes in the 1930s to, destroy slums so that they could be rebuilt as good housing.
That's true.
But this is a noir setting, so we'll destroy slums and they'll be rebuilt as casinos and bars.
Or other slums.
Yes.
We need more slums.
even slummier slums.
That's right.
And then do you have another action?
Yeah, but if he's unconscious, I don't actually see a target anywhere.
Well, he is, even though he took that pretty big hit, you can see him now starting to kind of come to.
Okay, well, this time I will just do kind of, miss that one, but I'm going to, sort of put my, spread my legs, get the thing in both hands and kind of do an overhead, kabonk, stay down. And once again, spending karma and just keep incredible to hit. Okay.
There you go.
There we go.
Now
Yeah,
you
I
made
still
up
have to
for
spend
it.
karma, but yeah.
All right, 62 on him. He is out for the count.
The black paw's back.
Well, it's almost time for us to, go make them very happy. He needs to get fed too.
All right, so everything now kind of falls quiet here on the street in Harlem. And the front doors of Blackwell and Sons Funeral Emporium stand in front of you like they haven't been opened in decades, even though you know better.
Tank, why don't you knock?
Do you mean like actual knock or do you mean knock the door down?
No, I just mean punch the door down. That was real loud. They heard us.
Okay. I will do exactly that.
Which building is Blackwell's? This one?
The one where Belladonna is standing on right here.
You mean draped upon?
Draped upon, yeah.
Smushed.
Kind of a roundhouse kick into the door.
All right. So You knock the doors down with no issue. They give way easily under your boot, and the smell hits you first. A mix of incense and rot, like a church that lost its faith halfway through a burial. The lobby inside is a bit of a time capsule. It's a chipped tile floor with stained glass lamps, and a handful of dusty church pews pressed against the walls like mourners frozen mid-service. There's 2 doors that flank either side with brass plaques naming them Parlor 1 and Parlor 2. But it's not the side rooms that draw your eyes. It's what's straight ahead.
Come on, you could do it.
Apparently, we're going to wait for 15 minutes for
Dramatic
this to
pause.
go again.
Very
Wait for
dramatic,
it.
very pause.
Yeah, yeah. And it's coming. And it's coming. Yeah, it's won't believe what we're seeing. You know, this is like one of those things where the TV show ends with all the characters staring at something that you don't actually see until next
Right.
Oh,
episode.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's at the end of the hall as this is loading. The drums that you've heard back at the docks are echoing in this hall. Slow, steady, and savage. And moving in time with every beat of the drum is a woman, wild-haired and barefoot, her hips swaying like a cobra dancing in a basket. She turns to face you with eyes that burn like coals, and surrounding her, a small army of corpses, twitching and snarling, ready to rush the living. This is Calypso, priestess of the dead, conductor of this rotten little orchestra. She doesn't speak, she just drums faster. And while that's loading,
8.
I'll give you some karma points.
Hey.
Yay!
I gotta get my calculator out.
Mm-mm. Hopefully, I come out ahead. I'm not sure I'm gonna.
My lazy butt got that calculator out too. I was like, no, I'm not doing math. No.
I spent 91 karma in that fight.
Oof. Actually, wait. Let me add mine up. I'm not far off.
I don't know how much I spend because I just deducted from the appropriate field on the form, so
Me too.
I don't remember unless I memorize what I started with.
I think I'm around 83.
I keep a running total on a notepad docs, and then I apply at the end.
No, I do the running total thing too. I just have a vague idea where I started.
Those were some crazy white rolls.
Right? That die roller was very swingy today. Not much in the middle. Well, I don't know. There was just a lot of white rolls.
Don't roll dice in Harlem.
I mean, there might be something to that.
Feel like that should be the episode title.
Yeah.
So, 390 karma points.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think we'll leave that. Have you guys landed on the page at
Yeah.
this point?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, hopefully down at the end of the hallway you can see Calypso there, and then the army of zombies here guarding her. And we'll pick up right there in our next session.
Just
Okey-dokey.
remember, everyone, geek the mage.
What's that, Beth?
Geek the
Geek
Mage.
the mage.
Oh, Geek the Mage.
Rule 1.
Absolutely.
There was an old list of rules for Shadowrun, to survive, and rule 1: geek the mage.
If
Yeah,
the mage, if the mage is banging on a drum, break that fucking drum.
So the map, all we're seeing, it ends right here.
Oh,
At least for me, it does.
sorry. Okay, because the door's shut. Let me open the door for you.
Okay.
There you go. Because we
Oh,
busted the
other
door.
door.
There
Hey, a
you go.
door.
Oh, the other way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, there we go.
I can only see it a little bit, and what I see
I'm
bothers me.
not. I'm only moving to see the rest of the
Yeah, that's
room
fine.
because of the
Yeah.
lighting situation there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, lots of Okay, yeah. All right.
This
We'll
is
see.
fine.
We'll see if I get to try my new power stunt, or if I go too slow for it to matter again.
What are you talking about? You had an action. You had 2 of them even.
Yeah, we
but,
get to roll again. It's a new battle.
yeah, but my initiative was so low that the thing I wanted to try, I never get to try it because I always roll so low on initiative.
Says the person who
Everybody
went.
moves.
Says the person who went literally right before me.
Look, man, we're both slow. What am I gonna say?
That is, I mean, yeah, that's fair.
Sally was just standing there checking her nails while everybody's getting picked off.
All right, well, I'm going to call a halt to the stream first. I'll have you guys hang on, but if you're watching out there in Twitch land, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on YouTube, and we'll see everybody back here in 2 weeks. Thanks for watching tonight, everybody. We appreciate it.
There's no light left to borrow, and no heroes here tomorrow. Just a girl with a voice and a song.